A lot of people would tell you that once you accept a job offer, that you should stop job searching and even say no to other opportunities that might come along just so you don't look disloyal to the company you just accepted the job offer from. But that's dumb, right? Like, I don't think you should ever prioritize your job over you and your own personal goals because at the end of the day, you're an at-will employee, meaning you can get fired at any time for any reason. And if something was to happen to you where you're not really able to work anymore, your job will replace you as soon as possible. So I don't think you should blindly take advice that prioritizes a company over you and your own personal goals. All right, now that we got that out the way, in this video, I'll be sharing the story of how I got a job offer as a software developer from a major company. And then 3 hours later, don't judge me, 3 hours later, I accepted another job offer that was a lot better. And I'll be showing you the details of both job offers so that you can really understand why I made the choice that I did. So definitely make sure that you watch this video all the way through because I'll be sharing a lot of gems and tips about job searching and just the interview process overall, okay? Now, if you're new here, my name is TJ and I'm a self-taught software engineer that mentors beginners on their coding journey while sharing stories about my experience to help you to better understand what working in this field is like. So make sure to subscribe to my channel and help me out by liking this video and comment any questions you have as you're watching this and I'll make sure to get back to you. After teaching myself how to code and building projects for my portfolio, I started applying to jobs, and after a couple months of job searching and doing interviews, I finally got something back that looked a bit promising. I had applied to Nationwide Insurance to work as a test automation developer, and sometime after that, a recruiter from Nationwide Insurance actually reached back out to me on November 4th, 2016. And a few days later, I did a technical phone screen with that interview. But let me just pause real quick to explain what a test automation developer is, all right? A test automation developer is a developer that writes code that automatically tests the functionality of an application to make sure that things are working correctly and you don't have any errors or bugs in the code. So basically, software developers write code to add new features and functionalities to an application, but to make sure that those features work correctly and don't break anything, a test automation developer will write code that automatically tests the functionality of those features to make sure that everything is working correctly and that those new features don't break anything else that's already existing. So in this role, I would mostly be writing code that tests other people's code instead of being the one to write the code to be building new features and functionalities. Now, even though this is a different type of software developer, it's still software development because I needed to be able to write code to do the job. So I knew that I could get a job as an actual software developer right after working here and getting some experience, right? And this is a really big takeaway because the main takeaway here is that so many people sometimes lose focus on the bigger picture when they're job searching because things aren't perfect. Right? I see so many people passing up opportunities because the job doesn't have the exact job title they want. It doesn't have the salary they want. It's not remote and just all these other things that they forget. Their goal right now is to make a career switch into a new industry. And some of these roles that they're passing up can actually help them get the experience they ultimately need to be able to land their dream job. So that's why I didn't mind applying to work as a test automation developer because I knew it would help me get experience writing code and working on an engineering team, which is exactly what I needed to land my dream job as a software engineer. Anyways, do you feel like you understand the difference between a test automation developer now versus a regular software developer? If you do, make sure you comment below how you would explain what a test automation developer does versus a regular software developer. Now, the interview process for this role was 2 rounds. The first round was me doing a technical phone screen with the recruiter, which lasted about 20 to 30 minutes. And during this phone call, the recruiter told me more about the company and they told me more about the role then they asked me some general questions about my background and my current technical skills. Now, since I'm a self-taught software developer, I don't have a computer science degree. So when asked about my technical skills, it was the projects on my resume that I was able to use to demonstrate my technical skills. But also, and this is a major key, I was able to speak confidently and technically about the applications that I built, and that helped the recruiter feel a lot more comfortable with my coding skills to be able to move me forward to the next round. So this is a major key right here. And it's actually something that I tell all the students that I mentor in my coding and career prep program, that it is not enough to simply know how to write code. You need to know how to talk about code and explain technical concepts in a way that shows you actually understand what you're talking about. This is why I make the students in my program practice explaining their code to me so that they can start getting comfortable explaining code out loud, and also so that I can actually give them tips and feedback in terms of how to actually go about talking about code. So if you're learning how to code on your own, make sure that you practice explaining your code out loud, even if it's just to yourself. All right, so for this role, the test automation role, I think this company was mainly just looking for someone junior that has some experience building software. And this is why having projects on your portfolio is so important. Not just that, but all the applications that I built for my portfolio, I wrote tests for them. So I was able to use that as a selling point for this test automation developer role. And that's actually a major tip right there. One of the ways that you can stand out when you're applying to your first job as a software developer is to, of course, make sure you have 2 to 3 projects on your portfolio, but also write tests for them. This can give you an edge over a lot of candidates, and it definitely helped me here since I was applying to a role that had to do with testing. So try to write tests for at least one of the projects on your coding portfolio, all right? So after the technical phone screen with the recruiter, the next round for this role was a panel interview with 3 hiring managers at the same time. Basically, there were 3 teams at the company that were looking to hire a test automation developer. So all 3 managers would interview the candidate at the exact same time, and whichever manager liked you and wanted you on their team would give you an offer. Now, I know that this might seem scary, right? Like you being interviewed by 3 managers at the same time, but if you think about it, this is actually a good thing for you, because now you only have to impress 1 manager out of 3, right? So keep that in mind next time if you ever have a panel interview, all right? Now, this panel interview was fully remote, and it was done over Skype at the time because I lived in Austin, Texas, and this role was actually based in Scottsdale, Arizona. Beautiful place, by the way. But listen, one of the major takeaways that I don't want you to miss here is that when you're trying to make a career switch into a new industry, especially tech, your goal is to secure a job offer, even if the role isn't exactly what you're looking for, because you can actually use this as leverage and use it to negotiate other job offers, because getting that first job is usually the hardest part. So don't make it harder for yourself by only pursuing roles that are exactly what you're looking for, because once you get that first job, all you need is at least 6 to 8 months of experience, and recruiters, oh my goodness, trust me, recruiters are going to be the ones chasing you down and messaging you on LinkedIn, asking you to come interview at their company. So that means if you can figure out a way to sacrifice 6 to 8 months to be able to move somewhere and pursue a better opportunity, or just, a role that's less than perfect, that could actually set you up to get your dream remote role right after as your second job. On top of that, and this is really important, getting a job offer does wonders to your confidence, because it gives you an edge in the interview process. Because here, let's say company A gives you a job offer, but you have to move to Arizona. And while you're still considering that job offer, so always ask for a few days to be able to consider the job offer, all right? But while you're still considering the job offer from company A, company B reaches out to you and they want you to come interview as well. So you can tell company B, hey, I actually already have a job offer that I'm considering right now. Is it possible to expedite and speed up the interview process so I can see if this role is a better fit for me? And most recruiters will find a way to cut the interview process short. So instead of you doing like 4 rounds or something crazy like that, you might only have to do 1 or 2. And if you do well and you get a second job offer, you can actually use that to negotiate a better offer with the job that you actually want. Now, back to the panel interview. So this was a video call where all 3 managers were on video and they took turns asking me different technical questions. Nothing really advanced since this was an entry-level role. They just wanted to make sure that I was teachable and open to learning new technologies while making sure that I at least had some experience with the technologies that they were currently using. And luckily, I did. So a couple days later after that, I got my first job offer as a software developer on November 18th, 2016. When I tell you, I was so excited and I felt so much relief. Oh my goodness. Because everything that I had worked hard for, like all of those late nights studying and sacrificing my social life, all of that paid off in that one moment. And I'll never forget that. So if you are learning how to code so you can make a career switch, or if you are working hard and just learning a new skill so that you can get a better paying job and a better career, I definitely wish you the best on your journey. And I hope that one day soon that you get to experience that feeling of finally accomplishing that goal that you've been working so hard for. Now, let's get back into the details of the actual job offer and ultimately talk about the different things about the job offer that led me to accepting another offer later on. But first, let's talk about the positives of this nationwide insurance job. So this job paid $59,000 and my previous salary, keep in mind, was paying me $39,000. So that's a $20,000 salary increase. My first job as a software developer was paying me $20K more than my previous job. So I was excited. Now I know $59K is not the highest salary, but for me, that was just the beginning. I had successfully made the career switch into a better paying job, and this $20K increase symbolized that. So I knew that it was going to be easier for me to make more money later on because this was a better career for doing that. And that's where we start talking about the not so good parts of this job offer, right? So I lived in Austin, Texas back in 2016. And this role, right, for this role, I had to move to Scottsdale, Arizona, which sucked because my girlfriend at the time had just moved to Austin and my 3 younger sisters lived in Austin as well. And I'm just really close with my siblings. Plus, most of my friends lived in Austin, so leaving Austin to move to Arizona wasn't really ideal. But I was ready to do what I had to do to get to where I wanted to be. And in my head, I'm like, I can do 6 to 8 months in Scottsdale, Arizona. Like, Scottsdale's a beautiful place. And 6 to 8 months will go by just like that. And before you know it, I'll be able to start job searching again for a job right back in Austin because I knew once I had the experience as a software developer, I knew that I could pretty much get a job in any state that I wanted to be in. Now, the real reason that I was even available to entertain a second job offer is because when I got the job offer from Nationwide Insurance, they gave me 3 start dates to choose from. The first start date was the end of November. The second start date was mid-December. And the third start date was in January. Now, if you think about it, there's no way I'm going to move right before Thanksgiving, Christmas break, right? Like, that just doesn't really make sense. Like, I'm not going to move to another state right before the holidays. Instead, I'm going to enjoy the holidays with my friends and family and then move. So for me, it was a no-brainer to choose the January start date. And that gave me time in Austin to hang out and to just enjoy my last few weeks in town before moving. Another tip. If you can afford to delay your start date a bit, you might have time to be able to now consider more opportunities. And that's what happened to me. Look, I almost feel bad, but the same day that I accepted a job offer from Nationwide Insurance, I had a meeting with someone that I was networking with already, who was the founder of a tech startup, and he offered me a job on the spot. Y'all, this man offered me a job as a software engineer, which is the exact job title I wanted, in Austin, the city I wanted to be in, for 75K, the salary I wanted, which is almost 35K more than my previous salary and 16K more than the job offer from Nationwide Insurance. Like, that was one of the biggest moments of my life, right? I just learned to code and I got a job as a software engineer paying almost double my previous salary. Y'all, I immediately, I immediately accepted that job offer and called the recruiter from Nationwide Insurance like, hey, look, I told him I'm gonna have to turn down that role because I found something that worked better for me in my situation, and I apologized to them, and I wish them the best of luck. All right, that whole sequence was a life-changing moment for me that I have absolutely no regrets about. Like, I made the best decision for me in my life, and honestly, looking back, it's still one of the best decisions that I've made to this day. So that's it. If you want to know how I got hired on the spot and how you can put yourself in those situations as well, make sure that you subscribe to my channel because I'll be sharing that story soon. And help me out by liking this video and comment below any questions that you have, and I'll get back to you. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next video.